Hey guys, welcome to this fourth video this week all around anxiety. It's been a great week so far getting these videos out. I hope they've been of value to you. Now, as I said yesterday, I wanted to give you another tip. So first of all, if you haven't listened to all the videos, go ahead and visit my page and you'll be able to see all of them. There's loads of other videos there as well, but this video is specifically about 3 steps which I've used in my life to let go of anxiety, to get more calmness, to get more confidence. And the whole idea is training the brain. That's all we're doing. Think about it. If you've experienced anxiety in your life, or panic, or worries and doubts, low self-esteem, it's a trained up process. It's something that we've learned along the years. You might have had it for 10, 20 years, you might have had it for as long as you can remember. But the reality is, something happens along the way which then gets more imprinted in our brain to make us think that strategy of anxiety. Like the emotional triggers, the things which are happening externally which cause us to feel anxious, worried, and so on. So all it is a strategy, okay? It's a learned strategy which is creating more and more anxiety. And that's the issue, simply because it is a strategy. So forgetting about the label of anxiety, because more often than not the labels, I can understand why we have labels, but they're not the most beneficial thing because we can believe them so much. Let's just consider anxiety as more of something that you're doing on a consistent basis, which is a strategy. That whenever this happens, you feel anxious. Whenever that thought pattern, that old behavior, that belief system, that internal self-dialogue, that is a strategy that we're doing on the inside. Now the good news is, if you've learned this strategy to be anxious, maybe you're a professional anxious person like I was, where you just did it full time, every day, even when you sleep, all those things, you did it so well that you're almost a professional at being anxious or not being confident. But if you experienced it for that period amount of time, and you created it at an unconscious level, not consciously, but it somehow came into existence, it's simply running a strategy. So if it was created, then we can surely create a new strategy. Now, as always, I'm not going to tell you there's going to be lightning quick. This is real practical processes to help you transform your mind, your feelings. And like all things, it can take some time. But I want to give you that strategy. I want to give you a 3-part strategy to make it real nice and easy, which will allow you to train up your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors to work for you. I mean, why should we allow our mind to work against us? Why should we allow our body to work against us? We are in control of our mind ultimately. We've just lost that control. I remember losing that control for many years. It was horrible, it was fearful. I just dreaded every day because I knew my anxiety would begin to kick in. But once I began to realize that actually this anxiety that I'm running at an unconscious, it's like brain level, is simply a pattern. And if I figure out what that pattern is, or I begin to create a new pattern, then I can start to create the results that I want. Rather just being a product of my anxiety, I can allow life to be a product of what I choose to create. That is really what I'm all about. I want to be able to show you the user manual of the brain. I want to be able to show you that there is a different way of being in this world which will allow you to have more emotional freedom. And consider that. Consider what it'll be like to be emotionally free, to feel more contentment, to experience that beingness, that inner competence and confidence. That's what I really want for you. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to try to help you to get from where you are to where you want to be. And the steps in between are the type of things I want to be able to help you with. So yes, you're going to have to take some action on this. It's something that you're going to have to do. But at the end of the day, if it's worth doing, if it's going to give you that emotional freedom, then applying just these 3 steps every day is going to be transformational. And that is the question we have to ask ourselves. I remember I was just doing a video yesterday and it was just a very quick exercise. In fact, it was only 2 things. And the person said it seemed like a lot of effort. Well, in reality, it was just about being conscious, and it has to sometimes have effort. Why should we be shy from having effort? Because if anyone is going to make a change, there has to be some effort there. That is taking responsibility and ownership for our life rather being owned by the anxiety. We can continue to be live in the anxiety, but to be honest, you're putting so much more effort into experiencing anxiety compared to the effort you'll be putting into to apply these 3 steps. So it's simply a choice. It's simply a choice that we either apply processes, ideas, new thoughts which will transform that strategy, or we stay the same, or we seek other alternative methods. Whatever it is, we always have to make that choice. So what is this strategy? Well, I began to uncover this strategy by reading lots of different types of books. From, I always get the name wrong, like Eckhart Tolle, self-development books, and it was about living in the moment. And I was thinking about anxiety, okay? I was thinking about anxiety. What is anxiety? Because I was used to experience it every day, so I began to remember what anxiety was for me. Well, I was experiencing anxiety based on my past thinking. Okay, what does that mean? Well, my past situations where things were anxious to me, where things didn't go my way, my brain was remembering my past. It was remembering all the past things, so when it goes into a situation in the future, which is similar, it will begin to recreate the same pattern. In other words, if you go for an interview and it didn't go very well, and you go to another interview and it didn't go very well, you start to get anxious, then you go to another one, your brain is going to remember your previous experience because that previous experience is a guide as to what might happen. So anxiety is very much a past-based thought process. Your unconscious mind is remembering past times where you have been anxious or when you've reacted in a certain way when you're about to come into a situation. That's what it's doing, okay? So that's part 1 of how the mind works. But then I realized anxiety isn't just past negative thinking, it's actually future thinking, right? You're thinking of all the things which could go wrong. You're thinking of, what if this happens? What if someone looks at me funny? What are they going to be thinking of me? What if I fail? What if I succeed? All those things enter your mind, and it's all the things that we don't want to happen. So that is future-based thinking. And we got past-based thinking, which is like our past experiences of it. So anxiety is always living in the future and responding to that present moment because of the past. So it sounds a bit tricky really, but when you think about it, it makes sense. That is your present strategy. You're being triggered off by what's happening or what could happen in the future based on your past previous experience. That is how anxiety works in a system. That is how the mind works. It's going by the past patterns, and considering what might happen in the future based on those. So very much past-based thinking and also future-based thinking. So, how can we break that pattern? How can you create a new strategy, which means that you do not have to run by that negative past thinking, and you also don't have to do that future anxiety-based thinking? Well, I came up with this strategy, as I said. It took me a long time, and it's actually, I was going to create a product to actually sell this, go into real detail, and actually create another book and get that published. But I figured that I wanted to just be able to get it out there, so I made videos around it, but I want to give you this specific tip around anxiety. So here's what you do. When you wake up in the morning, and it goes a little bit about yesterday's video, but when you wake up in the morning, you begin to hallucinate how you want your day to go. You begin to consider the type of things that you would like to achieve, how you would like to react, how you would like to feel throughout the day. So if you've got a meeting coming up, you see in your mind as if you're watching yourself on a movie screen, being great, being relaxed, being calm and confident. Now, it might be a bit of time to consider that because maybe you've been doing that past-based thinking for a long time. However, if you start to imagine seeing yourself on a screen going throughout your day, your brain will begin to consider that as a strategy. It's going to be looking at that opportunity of that potential future. So it's almost like doing the reverse anxiety process, because rather than think of all the things which could go wrong, which makes you anxious, you're reversing it and you're beginning to look at how you'd like to be. You're beginning to rehearse in your mind exactly how you want to be. You're beginning to consider the type of feelings that you would like, the kind of thoughts you would like, how you'd like to be in this world throughout that whole day. And you begin to hallucinate it and feel it and you will it and go, look, this is exactly what I want. And you do that in this huge amount of time of 5 minutes. That's all you got to do. 5, maybe 10 minutes of hallucinating how you'd like your day to go. And you can be doing this when you're lying in bed, when you're eating your breakfast, whatever. It really doesn't have to take like a big effort of time. You just have to consider exactly how you'd like to be. That's all. Just consider how you want your day to be. Now, the second part of the process is, I'm actually going to go to the third one straight away. We're going to go to the third process because that means it really makes sense. Because in the first step of hallucinating, we're taking care of the future-based thinking because we're now projecting the new thoughts of how we would like to be. Now, the third step is based on really the past negative thinking. And that is, when you go to sleep at night, you begin to learn from your day. You begin to ask yourself, what can I learn from this day? I visualized in the morning, I went throughout my day, and then when you finish your day, you're laying in bed and you ask yourself, what can I learn from today which is going to allow me to be better, more powerful tomorrow? So you're just asking yourself good questions. How can I be different? What can I learn from? And as you begin to learn that way, you're getting your unconscious mind to learn as well. That means we're taking care of the past-based thinking. Now your unconscious mind is going to be going by this process, not all your last 20 years of anxiety, not the last 5 years of your anxiety, not all that trauma or worries and doubts or low self-esteem. It's going to be starting to begin to look at what you learned from. You see, anxiety is there to try to protect us, but now what you're doing is asking right questions as you go to sleep. What did I learn in the most wonderful way, and how can I use those learnings to be better tomorrow? So now we've taken care of the anxiety. We're almost like reversing it. We've taken care of the past negative-based thinking by learning from our day, because that's going over the past, okay? You're learning from your previous day. And we're also taking care of the future-based thinking because now we're hallucinating how we want our mind to act. So of course, I went from step 1 to 3. What is the middle step? Well, the middle step is to simply be in the moment throughout the day. There's going to be really good, okay? We have anxiety because we're disconnected with our system. We're disconnected of how our mind and body is actually interacting with each other, and it's spiraling out of control. So what you have to do is be in this moment, okay? Pay attention in this moment right now and notice what is good in your life. So as you go throughout your day, maybe every hour or two, you begin to just be in that moment for like 30 seconds, 1 minute, doesn't really matter, but every few hours you be fully present in the moment. When you're fully present in the moment and you're noticing all the good things in your life, you're reconnecting to this moment right now. In other words, you're being in the now. What is anxiety? Future and past negative thinking. So by the nature of beginning to train yourself up to just take 30 seconds, 1 minute, 3 or 4 times a day, to just be in the moment, you're disconnecting from that old anxiety strategy. So that is the 3 parts, the 3 steps to letting go of anxiety. Because we're taking care of all angles there when it comes to anxiety and worry. We've let go of the past negative thinking. We've let go of the future-based thinking when it comes to anxiety. And also we're living in the moment. When we're living in the moment, we are no longer thinking about what might happen in the future. And you won't be thinking what might happen in the future because you've rehearsed it in the future. And also you won't be thinking about the past because you're learning every single night. Trust me, apply this in your life starting today, this morning, tonight, wherever you are around the world right now. Start applying step 1, 2, and 3. It takes 10 minutes a day. Now 10 minutes is investing 10 minutes of your time today and every day worth the emotional freedom that you will get being free of anxiety. Is that of value to you? Is it worth it to you? Now, if it's absolutely not worth it to you, or worth it to you, then that's absolutely okay. I fully understand. But to me, when I was anxious and worried, I would have paid, if I had $1 million, I would have paid $1 million. If I had that time, which I did, and I've actually began to invest that time to find the answer, research, read hundreds of books on anxiety and self-development, listen to audio programs, I went on that mission to find the answer. But that's because I really wanted it. I really wanted that emotional freedom. I wanted to go and just feel confident in my life. I wanted to feel good. I want to feel loved. I wanted to feel worthy. I wanted to feel good enough. So I went on that mission. And that is a strategy which I came up with throughout that mission. And every day I've applied it, every time I apply it with my members, which I'm actually going to be talking to them very soon after this. So I've got to finish in a second, but we're going to be talking about this process into far more detail. But if you just apply those 3 steps, you will start to see remarkable changes. Will you see it after 24 hours? Maybe, maybe not. But will you see it in a week's time, in 2 weeks' time, in 1 month's time? Yes, you will. I promise you. Because all you're doing is retraining your brain. That's all you're doing. This is not magical stuff. There's just not woo-la-la stuff. This is just strategies. Anxiety is a strategy which has been happening as a habit. If we break the habit by doing step 1, 2, and 3, then you create a new habit. If you do it every day for the next 30 days, you will begin to create that new habit. And the good news is this. This is what I didn't tell you, okay? The good news is this. When it becomes a habit, it becomes second nature. It becomes natural. Just like walking, just like talking, like driving a car, you don't even think about it anymore. Just like anxiety right now, you're out of control because it just happens naturally. If you do this every day for 30 days, the 3 steps, which takes about 10 minutes in total, you will then create the strategy, the habit at an unconscious level, which means it's doing it for you. That means you don't have to keep on consciously doing it. It means you can just enjoy the investment that you made. When you think about it, all investment in time and money is simply getting a return. So when you begin to invest in that 3 times a day for the next month, you will begin to see a return from your efforts, where it actually starts to grow on your behalf. It happens on autopilot, in other words. That's one thing I began to love about doing what I do, okay? So I got into this at 18 years old. I've worked with thousands of people in one-to-one sessions, millions of people when it comes to audios and videos, all those things, but it came from my experience. It came from, okay, this is really cool. I'm gonna try this 3-step process for the next week. Well, that was really good. I began to do this. Did it for another 3-4 weeks, totaling just over a month. Then I did it 6 months, and I began to realize, actually now I'm talking in front of 6 people up on stage. Now I'm talking in front of 100 people on stage. Now I'm being invited to conferences where I'm speaking in front of 500 people on stage and actually enjoying it. It becomes that gradual, effortless way of being. It's not this sudden jump all the time, but you begin to allow more into your life and you begin to experience more. It is growth. That's what it is. Personal growth. It's personal development. You're developing yourself. And that comes through just this process. If anything, just try this process and you will see a new way of being in this world. You'll begin to realize how powerful your mind is. You'll begin to realize that you are actually in control of your mind and is not in control of you. We've just handed it the reins for so long, and we need to be able to switch that round so you are the driver of your mind, that you are the instigator of your potential, that you are the most effortless and wonderful thing that creates results on demand. That is what we have to do. That is a kind of belief system, the mindset that we will begin to develop as a team together because you're starting to get this as a habit. You see, I believe in you. I know that you can make changes. And I want you to consider what that change would be like. How would it allow you to feel? And is it worth taking that massive and inspired action? Anyone who's made any change, from social change to entrepreneurship to business to relationships, all those things, it takes effort, it takes time, it takes investment. So what you have to do is just invest in yourself to make that change. It doesn't have to be money, but it has to be time. It has to be putting your energy where it needs to go. If your energy is on Facebook, which is okay right now, but sometimes you need to put more energy elsewhere. Sometimes you need to invest in yourself in reading a book or a podcast or a video or a program or a coach, whatever it is. Sometimes you have to invest that time at the very least in looking after yourself. Maybe not going out that one evening because working on yourself and getting that emotional freedom is worth just not going out that one time in a week. It might be something like that, but whatever it is, anyone who's made a change, anyone who's made a breakthrough, they realize that they had to take responsibility, they had to instigate that change, and you too can be the instigator. You too can be the person who makes that change that allows you to experience your health, your relationships, your career, your finances, your emotional freedom to be where you want it to be. You have it all in you. You have all the resources, you have all the ideas and the applications readily available to you, but we have to put our attention to it. And by doing the 3 steps, you'll begin to do that. Now, if you want to be able to get things quick, as you know, on a mission this week to give away my hypnosis track to as many people as possible, it's been downloaded hundreds and hundreds of times so far. Just this week alone, is completely for free, and you just listen to it as you go to sleep. Can't get better than that, right? So it puts you to sleep, you wake up refreshed. Pretty easy, pretty simple. And then you'll start to notice that change, and then if you apply the 3 secrets, oh my goodness, you'll make so much more changes. But if you really want a direct route to your unconscious mind, you'll see the link in the comments here in a second, and also you'll be able to see it in the description of this video. But ultimately, you go to www.josephclough.info/123, and then you'll be able to get access to my Cut Your Anxiety by 50% and Double Your Confidence Hypnosis Nighttime Session. Really easy, really simple, it's completely for free, and you will start to see changes. That's my belief. I say that because I'm coming from my own personal truth, which is based on my experience with all the clients I've worked with over the last 15 years, all the videos and audios and all those kind of things. It's just my experience. My specialist topic when it comes to personal development is low self-esteem, confidence, depression, anxiety, all those type of things. So that is what I'm really passionate about, because I have been there. And I want to just help you, show you that you can also do that. So have the most wonderful day, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. And if you're a Mind Mastery member, I'm going to be live in just a few seconds. Just give me time to set up everything, and I'll be with you in a moment. So I'll see you in the Mind Mastery Facebook group. Okay, many thanks and goodbye.